Live from Waterford and Dungarvan, this is Waterford at 1 News.
Good afternoon, I'm Sinead Aherne. Today's top stories. The Dáil returns this afternoon after the summer recess was cut short. 2 people have been killed in separate crashes in Wexford and Donegal. A Waterford woman says the wearing of face masks is making life more difficult for people who are hearing impaired. And in sport, Alan Reynolds has left Dundalk. The Dáil resumes this afternoon, 2 weeks earlier than planned due to the Golfgate controversy. A new Agriculture Minister will be named when the Taoiseach addresses the Chamber later, as Shane Beattie reports.
Due to social distancing, it's back to Dublin's Convention Centre for the country's TDs who had their summer break cut short because of the infamous Clifton golf dinner controversy. The Taoiseach will face questions from opposition leaders before naming his new Agriculture Minister, his third since he took office, to replace Dara Calleary, who resigned over Golfgate. Donegal TD Minister of State Charlie McConlogue is widely expected to get the job. We can expect some fiery exchanges. Last time these TDs were together, the House had to be suspended twice, with chaotic scenes over changes to speaking rights.
The Dáil will debate whether or not to grant Garda additional powers to shut down pubs for not complying with public health. If Garda note a breach, they'll be able to shut down a premises for the rest of the day, while a 30-day closure could be imposed on those found flouting the rules a third time. The 6 members of the Rural Independents say they're going to vote against the proposals. The group's leader, Matthew McGrath, says pubs are being unfairly targeted.
Now this to try and give extra powers to the Garda, coincidentally, from what I have from the Garda or interest associations, they don't want these extra powers. They're easy and unhappy about them, and there was no consultation. So it's just scapegoating the publicans of Ireland unfairly and unequally, and as I said, it's an apartheid towards the pubs.
2 people have been killed in separate crashes in Wexford and Donegal. At around 10 o'clock last night, a pedestrian was hit by a car on the N25 at Porter's Lounge near New Ross in Wexford. The 36-year-old man was taken to University Hospital Waterford but later died. The driver of the car was uninjured. In Donegal at around 9:30, a 19-year-old man was killed and 3 men injured in a 2-car crash on the N56 at Creesla. Elsewhere, a cyclist who was knocked off his bike on Dublin's quays has died. It happened at around 10:30 on Monday night on North Wall Quay. The food delivery rider was taken to hospital in a serious condition but passed away from his injuries today. Teaching unions are demanding that work-from-home arrangements be put in place for teachers who are deemed at high risk of becoming seriously ill from COVID-19. They want rapid testing made available to staff and students to limit disruption in schools. Casey O'Riordan reports.
The HSE says those categorised as high risk should work from home if possible, but General Secretary of the ASTI, Ciarán Christie, told the COVID-19 Response Committee that teachers aren't being facilitated.
The ASTI has members whose illnesses include chronic kidney disease, cancer and serious heart disease. Anxiety levels for this group are very high. It is unconscionable that teachers who suffer the likes of these illnesses are being required to return to classrooms teaching sizable groups.
The organisation's president, Anne Pigott, says they're getting heartbreaking letters and queries from teachers deemed to be very high risk.
People with very serious conditions who have had cancer, who are missing lungs, who have asthma, and they are very much in danger should they go into schools.
Michael Gillespie from the TUI is calling for rapid testing to be made available for schools.
Given the rise in the number of young adults being tested for COVID-19, many of our students are young adults. Access to rapid COVID-19 testing for all staff and students is essential to help limit disruption in schools.
The Minister for Education will be before the committee later this afternoon to answer questions.
A Waterford Leaving Cert student says it's good news that a school's previous performance will no longer be used to assess this year's grades. The Cabinet's agreed not to use schools' track records to determine how students would have done if they'd sat the state exams. 83% of students are due to receive a grade based on their teacher's estimate or higher, while 17% will get below the school prediction. Rian O'Donoghue from Manscall Santa Claus says what happened in the UK was concerning.
It really disadvantaged schools. People who were from them were taken down quite a bit, while if you were from a nice private school, you were upped. It definitely was an issue, and I'm glad they've fixed it now preemptively. I was quite worried when they announced that there'd be a week in between getting your calculated grades, and by the week's end, the CEO would have come out and we wouldn't really have had an opportunity to protest it if the calculated grades with the school profiling had stayed in. But now they've been proactive and they've gotten rid of the school profiling already, so I don't think we'll have much to protest about, hopefully.
A Waterford woman says the wearing of face masks is making life more difficult for people who are hearing impaired. Stephanie Keating's 27-year-old son Donncha is deaf and is dependent on lip reading. She told Damien Tiernan on Daisha today that Donncha was queuing in a shop recently when a staff member ended up shouting at him.
Eventually the guy pulled the mask down and said to him, I don't know why you're getting so thick. I apologise twice. And Donncha looked at him and said, from behind the mask. You know, you're still not getting it, are you? You know, and I always say to Donncha, there's people in life that don't get deafness. They don't get disability. They don't get it. And if you don't get it, we can all shout and scream forever. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. They don't get it.
Drivers and business owners in Waterford are being asked to take responsibility and keep footpaths clear for people with disabilities. In the UK, the Department of Transport is looking at introducing fines for those caught parking on footpaths. A charge already exists here, but campaigners say it's not being enforced. Sean Rowan is the office manager of the Waterford Disability Network. He says there are parts of Waterford where parking on footpaths is a huge problem.
Up in Barrack Street and Norris's Corner, that area in particular, because another feature that we have is people putting out their recycling bins out in the footpaths as well. And they end up being blockages. And because they're not often in the same place, they're even more so, that you mentioned, to people who are visually impaired, a problem because they can be in a different place each week.
He says it's not just cars blocking footpaths.
A lot of places with the regulations in regards to pubs at the moment are having seating outside, which is wonderful. Certainly saw only yesterday in Grattan Square in Dungarvan. Looks absolutely beautiful, the seating outside of pubs and restaurants. But there has to be enough space on the footpaths for people to be able to use to get past as well. So down in Apple Market area, that can be very hazardous, trying to go in a wheelchair up through the Apple Market up onto Michael Street.
A Waterford car dealer says a reduction in vehicle registration tax would be most welcome. The Society of the Irish Motor Industry has made the call to help alleviate challenges faced due to COVID-19. New car registrations since the start of the year in Waterford are down almost 35% compared to 2019. Barry Murphy from Tom Murphy Car Sales Waterford says it's tough on the industry.
We're looking at figures to the end of August, and nationally the registrations are back 30%. They're saying they're back to recession levels. And I suppose, look, anything that can help new car sales, it helps us, but it helps the country because it increases the tax take for the government.
Garda and Waterford are mounting checkpoints in the Tallow area today and tomorrow. The operation is as a result of the cancellation of the Tallow Horse Fair, which was due to get underway tomorrow. Gardaí say they are ensuring compliance with COVID regulations. And WLR has been shortlisted for Best Irish Language Programme at this year's Oireachtas Awards for the programme Weenthurn in Asia. The programme was produced by Roseanne and Catherine Foley and edited by Owen Corrigan.
Sports News on WLR.
With Virgin Media Waterford. Want super fast broadband today? Drop into Virgin Media George's Street and take it home with you. Easy as that.
Starting with soccer, where Dundalk FC has confirmed that Alan Reynolds and John Gill have both left Oriel Park. The former Waterford boss was brought in by Vinnie Perth only 10 weeks ago. Perth left the club soon after. Dundalk thanked Alan for a short stint at Oriel Park and wish him well both with the under-21 national squad and in the future. Waterford FC hope that new signings Darryl Murphy and Brian Murphy will make their debuts for the club soon. The Blues play host to St Patrick's Athletic at the RSC on Friday night. It comes as Sam Bone will be out for the remainder of the season due to injury. Franny Rocket says it's fantastic to have the likes of Darryl at the club.
It's really uplifting when you lose someone like Sam, that you're getting someone like Darryl in, and you've someone like Brian Murphy coming back into the mix as well. And we're hoping as soon as possible that they can come into the team. We're still waiting to hear now. I haven't even spoke to the physio about it yet, but we're hoping that those two are back in as soon as possible. The experience is vital, and at this stage of the season, last 9 games, last quarter as it were, would have been last year even, it's important now that we start from Friday, and any kind of positivity we can get, you know, it's massive. But those boys will be around the team anyway. They're around the team every single day, and it's important, whatever, you know, even talking to lads or whatever like that, they're a massive encouragement to us.
And WLR broadcast Friday's game live thanks to McConnell Motors with commentary team of Ray Scott and Matt Keane. To rugby, where Connacht will play in next season's European Champions Cup after the tournament organisers confirmed 24 teams are to take part in the competition. The tournament will consist of 8 teams from the Pro 14, including all the Irish provinces, 8 teams from the top 14 in France, and 8 teams from the English Premiership. The competition will begin in December, with 2 pools of 12 to be assembled, with teams ranked into 4 tiers. And in tennis, the second round of singles action at the US Open today features Novak Djokovic and Naomi Osaka at Arthur Ashe Stadium. The men's number 1 faces the 44th ranked player in the world, Kyle Edmund. Osaka takes on baseline specialist Camila Giorgi. Sports news on WLR is thanks to Virgin Media Waterford.